Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Right, so yesterday we were explaining that khinzir is zawatul qiyam and khamari is zawatul amsal. And to prove that they say, now, لا ترى أنه لو جاء بالقيمة قبل الإسلام تجبر على القبول في الخنزير دون الخمر. Do you not see that if he brought the value before Islam, in other words, they were still zimmi and zimmiya, right? Now, instead of bringing the khinzir, he brought the value of the khinzir. She'll be forced to accept in regards to the khinzir and not in regards to the khamar, because when she's accepting the value in regards to the khinzir, it's as though she's accepting the khinzir itself. You understand? But when she's accepting the value when it comes to the khamar, it's though she's not accepting the khamar itself, she's accepting something else. So therefore, she's not forced to accept the value. She could say, no, I want my khamar. You understand? This is now when she didn't accept Islam as yet. She can, because that's not the same thing. But if you bring the value when it comes to the khinzir, she'll be forced to accept because he says, though he's bringing the khinzir. Right. ولو طلقها قبل الدخول بها فمن أوجب مهرا مثلي أوجب المتعة ومن أوجب القيمة أوجب نصفها. And if we divorce her in the same situation now, right? He divorced her before dukhul with her. Then whoever makes wajib meher misal, they make wajib a set of clothes. And whoever makes wajib the value, he makes wajib half of the value. Alright. Babu nikahi raqiqi, the chapter of marrying slaves, right? لا يجوز نكاح العبد والأمة إلا بإذن مولاهما. The marrying a slave boy and the marrying of a slave boy and slave girl is not permissible except with the permission of their master. وقال مالك رحمة الله يجوز للعبد. Imam Malik رحمة الله is permissible for the slave boy to marry without the permission of his master. لأنه يملك الطلاق فيملك النكاح, because he has the power to give talaq to his wife. And we also say that once a slave boy is married, then the master can't give his wife talaq. He's only allowed to give his wife talaq. You understand it? So Imam Malik Rahman says, if he's got the power to give talaq, then he should have the power to marry also. ولنا قول عليه السلام أيما عبد تزوج بغير إذن مولاه فهو آهر. That our Delhi's Nabiya Karim statement, whichever slave boy marries without the permission of his master, then he is like a zani. He's committing zina. وَلِأَنَّ فِي تَنْفِيذِ نِكَاحِهِمَا تَعْهِيبَهُمَا. Because in allowing their nikah to go through is putting a fault in them. إِذَنْ نِكَاحُ أَيْبٌ فِيهِمَا. Because a nikah is a fault in the slave boy and slave girl. You understand? If you now go to the marketplace and now you got now the slave boy or slave girl is not married, you'll go for them because then they got not many other strings attached. They can do their work. But now if they're married, then that will drop their value because now they've got other strings attached, other work also to do. فَلَا يَمْلِكَانِهِ بِدُونِ إِذْنِ مَوْلَاهُ. So they do not own it without the permission of their master. وَكَذَلِكَ الْمُكَاتَبُ. Likewise, a mukatab, he can also get married. Who's a mukatab? Mukatab slave is a slave whom the master works out a figure that he must pay, which is called the badl kitabat, and then he'll become free. Right. لأن الكتابة أوجبت فك الحجر في حق الكسب. Because this transaction of kitabat, it necessitates the removal of the restriction in the right of earning. فبقي في حق النكاية لا حكم الرق. So the mukatab will still remain in the right of nikah on the law of slavery. In other words, the mukatab is still a slave. The mukatab is still a slave. Yes, he's got this opportunity now where his master can now restrict him because he gave him this right now. So he can go out and earn now. So that the right to earn now, that's where the mukatab is free. Right? The removal of the restriction in the right of earning is free in there. But when it comes for him marrying, then he's still on the ruling of a normal slave. وَلِهَذَا لَا يَمْلِكُ الْمُكَاتَبُ تَزْوِيجَ عَبْدِهِ. Right? وَيَمْلِكُ تَزْوِيجَ أَمَتِهِ لِأَنَّهُ مِنْ بَابِ الْإِكْتِسَابِ. And for this reason, the mukatab doesn't have the power to marry off his own slave, but he's got the power to marry off his female slave. What does this mean? So basically, once he's now gone out into the marketplace, now he's earning. While he's earning, he buys some slaves. Right? So if he bought a male slave, he can't marry that male slave to anyone. He doesn't have the authority to do that because that's bring loss to his business. That brings a loss to his business. But he can marry off his female slave because that's an earning for him. He'll get a meher. You understand it? So that will be an earning because it's from the chapter of earnings. So marrying off his female slave, that's from the chapter of earnings. But marrying off his male slave, that is bringing a loss to the business. And plus he'll have to give the meher, so it brings a loss. وكذا المكاتبة لا تملك تمزويج نفسها بدون إذن المولى. Likewise, a mukataba woman now, she doesn't have the power to marry off herself without the permission of the master. وتملك تزويج أمتها لما بينا. But she has the power to marry off her female slave because of what we mentioned, that is from the chapter of earnings, right? وكذا المدبر وأم الولد لأن الملك فيهما قائم. So likewise, a mudabbar slave. Mudabbar slave is a master makes a transaction of mudabbar. Say he announces slave, it's my mudabbar slave. So what happens is when he dies, the slave will be freed from 1/3 of the estate, right? And the umme walad is that he got a child. She got a child, or my master's child. She becomes automatically becomes umme walad. When the master dies, she is freed from the whole estate, not 1/3, whole estate, right? The endal milka fee, because the ownership in them is still existing. So in other words, a mudabbar and a umme walad can marry without the permission of the master. وإذا تزوج العبد بإذن مولاه فالمهر دين في رقبته يباع فيه. When a slave boy marries with the permission of his master, then the meher is a debt in his neck. He will be sold to pay in it. So in other words, the slave boy now master say, okay, you want to get married? Okay, go get married. Now he got married. Now he's to pay meher. So either the master pays the meher and he keeps the slave boy. You understand? But if he doesn't want to pay the meher, then he releases the slave boy, and that slave boy will be sold to pay his own meher. لأن هذا دين وجب في رقبة العبد لوجود سببه من أهله. Because this is a debt which became wajib on the neck of the slave due to the existence of the sabab of the debt, which is nikah, right? And it's coming from somebody who is suitable, in other words, a baligh. It's not a boy that's doing this or a mad person. It's somebody who's baligh akil. You understand it? And the slave boy is baligh akil, so he has to pay. You understand? Right. وقد ظهر في حق المولى لصدور الإذن من جهته. Right. And thus, debt also becomes apparent in the right of the master because of the emanation of permission from his side. The permission came from his side. The master gave permission, so now he's going to have to either cough up or release his slave. فيتعلق برقبته دفعا للمضرة عن أصحاب الديون. So it will be connected, right, with the neck of the slave, right? This debt now of the meher will be connected with the neck of the slave to repel harm from the people the people that they owe, which is the repel harm from the people that they owe money to, right? Right. Kama fi daini tijarati. Right. Just as in the debts of the trade. You understand? They also yeah. So what's kama fi daini tijarati? That in the debts of trade. One is you get the abde ma'zun. So he's a slave, right? Abde ma'zun is a slave boy. But the difference is the master just makes an announcement that he's my abde ma'zun. He's got permission to trade. Now he trades, but he's a bad businessman, so he goes into minus. So all his debts are now on his neck. You understand it? So just as there, the debts are on his neck, so likewise here also when the slave boy gets married with the permission of the master, the debt goes onto the neck of the slave. So he is sold to pay that meher debt, and if there's any other debts. If he was Abdul Mazun, more debts there, he will pay for that also. والمدبر والمكاتب يسعيان في المهر ولا يباعان فيه. Right. However, the mudabbar and the mukatab slave, say the master gave them permission to get married, right? Right. They will work to pay the meher. They will be allowed to go and do work, and then they will pay the meher. And they will not be sold to pay the meher. Why? لأنهما لا يحتملان النقل من ملك إلى ملك مع بقاء الكتابة أو والتدبير. Because they do not carry the possibility of moving from ownership to ownership with the existence of the transaction of kitabat and the tadbir. You understand it? So you can't, because now, see, must remember, the mukatab's got the taste, smell of freedom. The mudabbar also has got one foot out. You understand it? Of slavery, right? They can't take that, yeah. So if you're going to sell them, that means they go back into total slavery. And once a person is a little bit free, he can never go back into total slavery. You understand it? So therefore, you won't sell them for you adda min kasbihima la min nafsihima. So their meher will be paid from their earnings and not from their themselves. Right. وإذا تزوج العبد بغير إذن مولاه فقال المولى طلقها أو فارقها فليس هذا بإجازة. If the servant, the servant, the slave got married without the permission of his master, and the master said divorce her or separate from her, then this is not permission. لأنه يحتمل الرد, because this carries the possibility of rejecting, right? لأن رد هذا العقد ومتاركته يسمى طلاقا ومفارقة, because the rejection of this transaction and leaving it out is called talaq and separation. وهو أليق بحال العبد المتمرد, right? And it is more suitable for the situation of a slave who has been disobedient. أو هو أدنى, or it is the lesser of the two. فكان الحمل عليه أولى, so carrying it upon it is better. What does this mean now? See, by saying talikha, it's as though you're saying, see, so he got married without permission of master, right? Now when the master said divorce her, it's as though he's saying, okay, the marriage, you married her, now divorce her. It could mean that. But we're saying no. What this means, divorce her or separate from myself, you were not allowed to get married. I don't give permission for this marriage. Right. And why they say this is because it carries that possibility, right? And to reject such an act, right, is also called talaq. And this is more suitable for a situation of a slave who's been disobedient, that you're rejecting the permission even to get married. You understand? In other words, it can have two meanings here. It can have, okay, the marriage goes through, but now divorce her. The other meaning it has is that, no, I reject the marriage. So we're getting it onto the meaning of reject the marriage. Wawa adna. They say that is the lesser of the two. It's a lesser hassle of the two. Because now, one is you to say, okay, you married to her, now divorce her. That's a bigger problem than just saying, I don't allow it. It's easier like that. You understand it? فَيَكُونُ الْحَمْلُ فَكَانَ الْحَمْلُ عَلَيْهِ أَوْلَى. Then to carry it upon it is more better. Leave it later.